Okay.
I'm
Okay.
going to do that now. Anyways, you know who Bob Barker is. You should,
Mhm.
and The Price is Right. Well, you know how now it's Drew Carey, and then he's got the announcer dude who tells people to come on down.
No, I haven't watched it recently.
If you've ever watched one episode, they're all exactly the same. Anyways, he has like an announcer
Okay.
dude who tells the contestants to come down to the front row, and
Yeah.
the guy who did it beforehand, his name was Rod Roddy. I don't know why I'm explaining.
Uh,
He was a very sparkly fellow, but he was definitely before your time. I think he retired in like 2002 and died in 2005. So you're like been like 10 years old when he died.
Lord.
All right, we're live, I think. You guys all entered into a very interesting discussion.
Yes.
Anyways, so if we could get some yays or nays on the audio, I'd be appreciative of that. This is me saying some very complex and complicated words, lots and lots of words. Oh,
Same here.
and now Tyler's going to say some words.
Mm-hmm. I will go ahead and say, I don't know why, but as of late, like my internet does not like me doing the podcast with you and trying to watch it. It always gives me an error occurred.
Mine says
Thanks,
exact.
YouTube.
It's not your internet. Mine says the exact same thing. Don't know what that means. Are you using Firefox?
Yes.
It's probably a Firefox thing because Firefox. Anyway, some yays or nays would be appreciative. We got a yay. Peter says yay ? As usual.
Yes. -S audio. We need it.
As long as it's not Pipewire. All right. I'm
nervous, man. Pipewire is starting to grow on me.
Slowly. I've been using Pipewire since I switched to Fedora, and I haven't had a single problem. Knock on wood.
Yeah. Same here, man. It's been good. I mean, I'm going to save it till we get started, but yeah, low key, I'm back on Fedora.
Ben says we sound perfect. Well, thank you, Ben. We appreciate that. All right.
Nice.
We're going to go ahead and actually get started right up and not lollygag like we usually do. If I can stop getting emails.
That's wild. You no lollygagging? What is this? Professionalism? Is this how it starts? I don't like it. I don't like this feeling.
Speaking of, somebody on one of my very first videos, like it's my third video, says, "Dude, it's better if you prepare and practice before. I just watched through your struggle with fucking something in the I misread that. He didn't say fucking something. I just watched your struggle with finding something in the i3 docs. Dude, it was like my third video ever. I'm actually gonna say that. Dude, comma. It was like my third video ever. Calm mom down. Calm mom down.
Well, I mean, I get it though, because as a viewer though, you don't really I mean, if you're watching someone, you have no idea unless you actually check whether or not the video was from 3 months ago or from 5 years ago.
I gave him a heart to take the sting out of my words. All right. This is how it goes. All right. Let's go ahead. All right. So you have Audacity up and running?
Yes, I do. Surprisingly, not only do I have it up and running, I actually have it installed and had it installed ahead of time.
And you've done a test to make sure that it's pulling from the right source?
Mm-hmm. And I have it set on mono. I am somehow. God, this is definitely how professionalism starts.
We have
dirty feeling.
We have to go on a tangent right away. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna workspace 6.
All right.
I'm gonna hit record in Audacity. I'm gonna hit record in OBS. Fuck you, OBS. And you can do the you can do the claps whenever you like.
Yeah. This clap's gonna be interesting. All right, so everyone enjoy this. Wait, hold on. I pressed record. And error opening device. Oh, so what the heck? What the heck?
And
Oh, never mind. Hold on. I had the output set wrong. So
there goes that feeling of professionalism.
Yep. And Audacity has completely frozen. Audacity, what the hell is your problem? Come on. Come on. Don't do this to me. All right. I'm going to reopen it. It'll work this time.
Are you using Windows?
No, I'm on Fedora. I swear. Okay. Record. And oh my gosh, and it's recording from the wrong audio device. Why are you not pulling from the USB mic? And now it won't detect it that I'm on Discord. I just had to say Pipewire was awesome. God dang it. You've got to be kidding me. This cannot be happening.
This is my day so far too, bro. That 45-minute video is just coming back to haunt me. It's looking at me the whole damn day.
Bro, now the only device that Audacity sees is my webcam. What? Like how does this happen?
Is Audacity causing the problem, or is it the user?
That's a good question.
That wasn't me. That was from me in the chat. I'm blaming them. Using Windows XP.
Hold on. Let me dive into settings and let me check. Okay, yeah. So my default audio devices are the Samsung Q2U or whatever I'm using. Okay. So if I just load up Audacity, why is the only thing that you see my freaking webcam and a whole bunch of audio generic shit?
There's not a word that says default there?
Nope, no default.
Well, maybe a restart of your computer would work.
Sure.
I mean, I
want to wait?
I will happily entertain the audience.
All right. I'll apologize for me.
ADA story. All right. While he's doing that, installing Windows probably. I'll tell you all what happened this morning. I got up, was very motivated, decided I was going to do a video, and I've been working on my KD Neon video, my long-term review for about a week now. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I've been doing, getting B-roll together and getting all my notes and making sure that I've gotten every part of it, right in place. And this morning I decided to do the final recording of it. And I got through the whole 45 minutes. And when I was done, I went to check the recording and it was corrupted. Like it would not open. I was like, well, maybe it's just VLC that's having the problem, because VLC is the video and audio player that's on KD Neon. So I installed MPV, installed the Flatpak of MPV, and it actually crashed MPV. It just crashed it completely. And yeah, I was pissed. I was so mad because that was like 45 minutes worth of time to, get my review recorded, and I was just so mad. So I'm going to have to redo that entire review over again. Yeah, so if you're just joining the stream, Tyler is joining us. He's having some technical difficulties with Audacity and Pipewire and everything because we jinxed it and called ourselves professionals. So, yeah, welcome to everybody who's in the stream and watching live. We promise that this isn't normal. Usually we know what we're doing. That's a lie. We never know what we're doing. I suppose I could actually stop recording now and restart, because then I don't have to go searching for the claps when they eventually do happen. Oh, MPV is the best, and there is a line that you can add to your configuration file that makes it even better. It allows MPV to remember your playback position for when you close a video. So if you watch movies in MPV and then quit halfway through and then come back to MPV, it'll remember where you were. It is so good. So yeah, Tyler, news. Well, the good news is I see him. I can't hear him. Tyler, we can't hear you.
Okay.
Oh, now we can hear you.
Yeah. Well, I'm muted myself. Audacity still doesn't work.
Well,
I mean, now I have the option of default, but it tells me the device is unavailable. Like, I don't know why this is happening. It's like Discord. It's kind of like it seems like Discord is grabbing like a hold of the microphone and not letting anything else access it.
well, close Discord. See if then open up Audacity and then call me back. Bye, Tyler. He's just doing what I'm doing. What I said. That's funny. Technical difficulties. It's always refreshing. This is what makes life worth living, I guess. Okay, dude, you should prepare more. That. All right, Peter. Now you're just trolling me. Thank you for that. Yeah, you went through to my actual first video. That's great. All right. Oh, fun. Okay. Oh, here comes Tyler back.
Yeah, it works with Discord closed.
So is it working now?
No, no, it's not working.
So you closed Discord, open Audacity, left Audacity open, and when you open back up Discord, it stopped working?
The device, the whole app immediately freezes. And then if I close Discord, like the default option, like will highlight again and the app will work. If I try to use it with Discord open, it throws an error saying like it's like -9985 device unavailable or whatever.
That's really weird, man. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you want to know what we're going to do? What we'll do then is I will just record it in OBS. Let's do a small test recording so I can test and make sure it actually sounds fairly decent. So I'm going to go ahead and record and then we can say some words. Adrian, why don't I sing for you? Because I would have no viewers afterwards. I'd scare you guys all away.
I mean, I'd listen to, Matt's upcoming mixtape. Like, I don't see why not. Come on. Do us a few little diddlies. Put us together a nice little tape. Come on now.
No.
Why not?
No.
Yeah, I won't either, so I'm not going to blame you.
I am a horrible singer. I can't hold a tune worth a damn. Now, I can play instruments. Like, there are 4 instruments that I can play, but I can't sing. I have no ear for that kind of stuff, unfortunately. All right. I'm going to stop recording now, and I'm going to go listen to this thing. So, silence for just a moment.
I will stay if you
record,
sing.
And then we can say some words. Adrian, why don't I sing for you? Because I would have no viewers afterwards. I'd scare you guys all away. Okay.
I mean, I'd listen to, Matt's upcoming mixtape. Like, I don't see why not.
All right. Tyler, you're a little loud, so I'm going to turn you down just a little bit.
Okay.
Probably remove gain, because I'm assuming that I actually have like a shit ton of gain. Yeah. I'll turn gain down just a tad. I can always add gain later. Okay. Good. All right.
Well, I love how we're getting music suggestions in a Linux podcast. You're like, come on, sing some Celine Dion.
That was the best one. It's like, My Heart Will Go On. Okay. When I was in high school, we had like state competitions for band, right? And one of the events was you did a solo, right? And it was a solo event. And the song that I did was My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion on trombone. By the way, I got straight ones for that. So. Still couldn't sing it worth a damn. All right, I'm gonna hit record and we're gonna go because this is ridiculous. Gosh, damn it! This is why I use Windows.
No.
All right. Well, we're recording. We don't have to do claps this time. I mean, there's at least that.
That is true.
I can close Audacity. No, I don't need to save that. Thank you very much. I definitely don't need to save that. All right. So if you are just tuning in, or if you've watched through the entire pre-show, welcome. We do this live every Friday around 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Normally, we start a little bit earlier than this. We don't have technical difficulties, at least this bad. Usually when we do have technical difficulties, they're like show-stopping. Like, sorry, we can't do it because something's completely broken.
Yeah.
So, luckily, the show will go on. So, welcome. If you are in the process of watching this and you want to skip around, timestamps do show up a couple hours after the live stream will end, so you can do that. And if that's too late, like if you've watched through 20 minutes of the pre-show and that's the part you wanted to skip and you're just now finding out that there are timestamps, I apologize, but that's the way it works every week. So anyways, welcome. It's time to start.
Yes.
And I have everything ready to go. We were both so prepared too. Like we were like on top of the ball. And
the sad part is it started off and I was like, oh, this is what professionalism feels like.
You jinxed
so much
us,
for that,
bro.
I
this
did.
is entirely your fault. All right. Hey everybody, welcome back to Linux Cast. I'm your host, Matt.
And I'm Tyler.
Yes, he is. This is the Linux Cast, where we are the pinnacle of audio professionals. We know exactly everything that there needs to be known about audio and how to fix them, which is why we just spent 20 minutes trying to figure out how to get Audacity working and failed and failed at the end. So welcome to the Linux Cast. We talk about Linuxy things when we're not bemoaning the fact that audio 30 years later is still utter garbage. It's still so bad. The thing is, though, before we jump in, just let's all be honest with ourselves. If you've ever used Windows Audio, it's not much better.
No.
You still just have just as many problems with audio on Windows as you do on Linux. So for those of you Windows elitists out there, I mean, are there Windows elitists out there? Like, oh my God, Windows is so good. I've yet to meet one. I'd like to meet one. I just want to know exactly what it is you like about restarting your computer every 5 seconds. Anyways, now that I've insulted half of the people who use Windows, let's go ahead and jump in. Tyler, what have you been doing this week in open source?
So Josh challenged me to use Dvorak and suffer through like that whole shiznit, which it's been interesting. I've gotten decent at the home row, and I'm moving on to the rest, to the top and bottom rows, and getting more and more expedient with being able to type. It's a slow process, but it's getting better. I've gotten to the point now where I have a live stream. Like, I've got a thumbnail made, description, title, all typed out and ready to go for a live stream. All I've got to do is schedule it for later on today, and I'm going to just talk more about what Josh asked me to do and using Dvorak. It's been a challenge getting to that point, mainly because part of what he wanted me to do is to check out Void. And I'm gonna piss off the Void gang here. All you, like, gangsters who rep Void Linux. It sucks ass. Like, it's terrible. The installer is okay at best. It's broken. Like, the base ISO wouldn't even, like, my Ethernet didn't work, which, okay. awesome. And then Josh like modified it to like do a whole bunch of extra shit, and he installed a whole bunch of more like stuff like Network Manager. Internet still didn't work. Took me about 45 minutes to fix that. And then I can't remember what the next issue was, but it was a complete showstopper. Plus, I'm also trying to do it using Dvorak, whole new layout. I'm having to like look at my phone to like see where the freaking keys are and then type them out. It was an ordeal. So yeah, I just installed Fedora, and it's been great. I'm still using Dvorak, but it's been great. Thank you, Fedora. Nice.
Just a thing on your Audacity problem. I've been thinking you should try the. Are you using the Flatpak?
Maybe.
You should try the Flatpak, because I'm guessing that the Audacity that you installed is pretty old. If you installed it from the repos,
very well could be. I'm very well could have might have installed it from the repos.
Okay.
You check that out.
Thank you. Anyways, I'm proud of you for sticking with the Dvorak. You stuck with it longer than I did. I wrote a 1,000, maybe 1,500 word blog post on Dvorak a couple days ago. It's up on Patreon for my patrons. It'll come out for everybody else next week. I had some thoughts. So yeah. Josh is very good at challenging people to do things for money.
Wait, hold on. Before you go into what you've been into in Linux, I do also want to spend some time and talk about how upset you got when you first switched over about the period. Could you just go off like you did with us about the period just for a second?
It requires an entirely different hand and an entirely different finger, and it's right next to and right near a whole bunch of like weird letters, and it takes so much time because it's where the E is on a QWERTY keyboard, and E is a very, very common letter for you to type if you know how to type. So I'm always up there. Period is now my E. And it just appeared all the time. And then whenever I wanted a period, Z would show up because that's where Z is on Dvorak. I think it's either Z or X. I can't remember. Because I don't have it in front of me. I switched back to QWERTY. It was a mess. Now, after I had used it for 5 days, I understood it better why it's up there, and I got used to it. Because it is a very common thing for you to want to press. Like, you want to press a period a lot. It makes sense to have it up there where it's much easier. It's much easier to reach that with your middle finger than it is to go down to where it is normally on QWERTY with your middle finger. At least it is for me, because I have arthritis in the right hand, and reaching down with the middle finger down below the home row has always been difficult for me. So having it up there actually did make sense. But it is so hard to get used to because it's a completely different place. Is that something?
Yeah.
The question mark too, dude. The question mark is up there, like where the brackets are.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the biggest problem with the fork, is that the punctuation is all over the place. It's like it got scattered all around the keyboard instead of being all in like one side of the keyboard with one hand. Now you have to be able to do punctuation with both hands.
Yeah, I just didn't want to forget, because like the way that you were upset when you first switched over was hilarious, because you were typing out and you kept hitting the period, and you're like, I swear to God, if I hit the period and the E in period was a period.
It was too.
When you said it, and you just sit back, fuck.
And I believe my exact words were "fuck you, Josh." I'm pretty sure those were my exact words. Yeah. Anyways, I'm glad I switched back to QWERTY. I've been I completely forgot to switch back to the right scene. I keep doing that. I'm a professional. I know exactly what I'm doing. Anyways, I've been thinking about switching to Colmac, because Colmac doesn't have the problems that Dvorak has with moving around the shortcuts and the punctuation. That stuff stays the same. Except for maybe one piece of punctuation. I can't really remember, but it doesn't all move around.
No.
So I'm thinking about trying out. My biggest problem with switching to a different layout is twofold. First, Vim keys and all the key bindings that go along with, window managers and stuff. So all that stuff would have to change, but at least that only has to change once. But I also do a lot of work in VMs, right? And if you already have a whole bunch of VMs already set up, you have to go through each one of them and change the keyboard layout. And that is a pain in the tuchus. Now, if you catch it before you install, you can, do it during installation and it's fine. But afterwards, it's always kind of a pain. So yeah, I don't know. That's the one thing that's keeping me from even trying Colmac again, because I really don't want to have to go through like the 12 VMs that I use normally to do stuff and have to change the keyboard layout. That'd be a pain in the rear end. All right, yeah. So what I've been doing. So there's two things. So first, I've been working on getting ahead in videos, and that's the reason why I've had a couple days off this last week, because I've been trying to get to the point where I'm well ahead in videos. That's the reason why I got up this morning feeling motivated to do a video and got punished for it. So yeah, that's what I've been mostly doing. But I also, due to another Josh challenge, got challenged to use Sway for 3 months. And yeah, it's not going to be 3 months. Just to let you know, Josh, it is definitely going to be a month, dude. I'm just saying. I may keep Sway around for 3 months. But anyways, I am not recording this from Sway right now because I'm just not interested in messing around with it quite yet. But I've been using it for everything else. And it's not bad. But here are my thoughts so far on Wayland. Wayland is better than it used to be, but it feels like you're switching to a new operating system. So it's kind of like switching from Windows to Linux, where you have to, when you first do that, you have to search for every single application you need to use. So you need alternatives to, your browser probably. You need an alternative to your file manager, your alternative to, your email program, your image editing program, your audio program, your video player, all this stuff. You need alternatives for everything. So I've made that transition. I switched from Windows to Linux, found all of the applications that I need to use, and now I'm switching away from basically what I've known and need to find a whole bunch of other applications that work with Wayland. So things like trying to do a screenshot, can't use Flameshot because Flameshot doesn't work in Wayland, so you have to find something different. You want to use something like Rofi. Rofi sometimes works with Wayland, sometimes doesn't work with Wayland. It depends on which version you're using. Mine worked kinda. It's very, very slow. And dmenu does seem to work with Wayland, but it doesn't see Flatpaks, which I don't even begin to understand. Apparently, it's because of where the Flatpak stuff is stored in .var instead of in the regular path. So I'd have to use, I think, in order to get that stuff in there, I'd have to add .var to path. I don't know. I haven't messed around with it all that much. You can't use Polybar because Polybar doesn't work with Wayland, so you have to use Waybar, which is not the same thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like you have to go through and find all of these extra things in order to get them to work, and it's cool. It's been fun, but it's also like every time
challenge.
Also, why? every time I use Wayland, I'm like, why does this exist? What is wrong with what we had? Like, it works. Yeah. I understand Xorg is old and it's not well maintained and it has security bugs. So fix it. Don't make something new. Okay. And if you are going to make something new, at least make them backwards compatible so all of my shit still works. You know what I mean? It's just nice. Plus,
you bring up a good point. It's almost like we're having the war that we had between consoles back in the day. Like, just make them backwards. Like, there's no reason the PS4 shouldn't be able to run PS3 games. Like, right. Come on.
And you should. I think it was actually like the PS4 or whatever that had the first backwards compatibility. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it was always like was it the PS3? Like, there were some game. No, it was the Xbox. It was the Xbox 360. It had backwards compatibility, but now with everything, you had to look at specific games that had like a special designation on them to know whether or not they were backwards compatible. That was a mess. I think that was the Xbox. I don't know. That was been That was a long time ago. But yeah, it's just I'm confused as to what Wayland gives me that Xorg doesn't. You know what I mean? It doesn't really make sense to me yet. Like, people sing Wayland's praises, like, "Oh my God, no screen tearing." Well, you know what? That's great. You know what? No screen tearing is a fantastic out of the box experience. I love that. But I fixed screen tearing on Xorg. Like, it's fixed, right? We've had the solution to fix screen tearing on Xorg. For whatever reason, we haven't made it default yet, so you have to do it every time you install Linux. But it's fixable, obviously, with vsync and doing, a 4-line edit in an Xorg conf. So it's fixable. Other than no screen tearing on Wayland, what does it give me? I'm not sure what it... I've been using Sway now for 3 or 4 days, and I haven't discovered the thing that makes me want to jump up and down and say, "Oh my God, Wayland is the future." I'm not there yet,
No.
and I don't see it. I mean, like I said, I don't see it yet. Maybe I will. Like, I have a whole month left to go, but so far,
I mean, that's kind of the problem that I think we both had with Wayland, is like, it on the surface it's fine. It's gotten to the point now where it is just fine. Like, it works for the most part. But then once you start using it for a while, it's weird. Like, you find cracks in Wayland that just don't exist in X11. And so you end up having to go back to Xorg. You just have to. Or at the very least, you have to like come up with so many around the block solutions to the problem to make Wayland suit or work, where it's just, you don't have to do that in X. I mean, you said it best. Like, when it comes to Xorg, you're probably going to have screen tearing. Like, that's probably going to be your only issue. Like, if you have an issue, it's probably going to be that. And there's like 70,000 different guides on how to fix screen tearing on X11.
Every Linux YouTuber has one.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I mean, it's really not a problem. But I don't know. I think Wayland will eventually get there, but I don't even know, because I actually have read a few Reddit like discussions from developers who are trying to make Wayland compositors / window managers, and from what I understood from their conversations, developing the Wayland solution or equivalent to a window manager is radically more difficult than doing the same thing for Xorg. I mean, mainly because, as far as I understand it, like, a compositor, you essentially are making your own compositor when you're trying to build a window manager.
WL Roots or whatever is the compositor, and it's made by the same guy who do Sway, and like, it means you don't have to develop a separate compositor like with PyCon or whatever. Like, whatever.
Well, but from what I was reading, WL Roots is very incomplete or hard to extend out of.
It's definitely has its issues. So Gary Higgs in the chat says, "You don't mind hacking all day on Xorg stuff." I don't, though.
I don't do that. Yeah.
Like, it just works. Yes, I had to fix screen tearing. It took 5 seconds. I was done with it and actually with Fedora, I didn't even have to do it. So, like.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, most of the time for me, like, screen tearing is simply fixed by just installing PyCom.
Yeah, exactly.
Or any compositor. Like,
yeah, just use PyCom and use vsync. It's just or if you're in a desktop environment, use vsync through their display panel settings. You don't. I mean, I don't spend all day hacking. I spend all day ricing a thing, but that has nothing to do. I mean, I'm gonna do that in Sway too. You know what I mean? So it's just the thing, right? It's just, I'm not sure what the benefit is of it yet. Why? Also, hello, Sexbot. How you doing?
Hope you're doing good. Bye.
It's welcome to the chat. All right, moving on to the contact information. This is the most anticipated part of the show, I'm sure. You can find all of our contact information at linuxcast.org/contact. If you don't want to listen to this part and want to skip ahead, you can do so, obviously, if you're not listening live. If you're listening live, you guys are just going to have to sit here and take it. Anyways, speaking of the linuxcast.org, there you'll find all of our past episodes, except for the last one, which I haven't edited yet. I need to do that. Anyways, the linuxcast.org has all of my blog posts as well, so you can check that out as well. Tyler has a YouTube channel, which he does occasional YouTube-y things on. You can find him at youtube.com/ZanyOG. You can subscribe to the Linuxcast at youtube.com/Linuxcast and find you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Linuxcast. That's all of our contact information. I believe there's an email address, email at the linuxcast.org. I've been told that I need to say that in the show, so I did that. Welcome.
That was a fantastic read. Can just quickly before we move on, can I get just a whole bunch of claps in chat for that? That was great. It was phenomenal.
It was good. It was one of the better ones. All right. So this is the second week of us doing our brand new format of news. So we're just going to do the news. We have become the news anchors of the Linux world.
The only ones that you can trust, at least,
Right.
I mean,
we don't
have an agenda.
We need a highly inaccurate weather forecaster, someone who can't forecast the weather to save their lives. We'll just be set. All right. So Tyler, I will let you go first. Which one would you like to go with first?
I think I'll start off with the one that I'm kind of the most excited with, which is the Ubuntu coming to the little it's called the Lotsa RV dev board. It's actually pretty cool. I find it really interesting that we're having Ubuntu coming to RISC-V, which the fact that right now the most popular, or at least the most prevalent RISC-V devices that are out in the wild are they're single core to maybe dual core CPUs with half a gig of RAM, but they're actually getting a lot of support and a lot of people are checking them out, including myself. I think they're really cool, and it's a really fun it's a fun architecture, and I think it's exciting that it's not just getting better and better hardware wise, but that software is slowly starting to be adopted for RISC-V before it's even at a point where it's relevant for home use. It's a good thing. Do you have any opinions on RISC-V and these little single board computers?
I want one. I don't know what I'd do with it, but I want one.
Same.
And maybe if I could get one of these, it would take the sting out of not being able to get a Raspberry Pi, because they're never in stock anymore.
True.
I've wanted to build a Raspberry Pi NAS for 6 to 8 months and just haven't been able to buy one. And when you do find one on eBay or something like that, they're $400.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's cute, but no.
Well, what cracks me up is when I see one of the Pi Zeros that are supposed to retail for $5 and they're on sale for $86. I'm like, what? How? What? What is happening to our world?
Yeah, I don't know. So this thing here, I would like I said, I'd like one, but I don't know what I would do with it. It's one of those things yeah, I'd nerd on it and see if I can install something other than Ubuntu on it. Of course I would. But I don't know what I would do with it yet.
I have ordered one, but I'm in the same boat that you are. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. I have no idea. I just want to check it out.
You could buy 10 of them. They're $7 a piece.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure mine. I don't know all that I got with it. I know I got some extras, but I'm pretty sure I spent $30 on it. And again, it comes with not just the board; it comes with some extra things. I'm pretty sure I got an SD card with it, and some other small niceties that are coming with it. But it's not bad, at all, especially for a device that's. I mean, it's not necessarily very practical, performance wise, and especially since I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. It's not very practical, but for something that's cutting edge, like the RISC-V architecture and it becoming more mainstream, I think it's kind of a good. I mean, $30 is not a bad price to check out something new and see whether or not it's really something interesting and intriguing.
So it has an HDMI interface, supports many screen by its screen convert board. It also equipped with many peripherals, including US. They really need to proofread their. I'm assuming that the English was not their favorite. They called it a UAB port instead of a USB port.
Yeah.
Also Wi-Fi-BT. Oh, it's Bluetooth. Okay, yeah. Anyways, so it has a lot of stuff. I wonder how they sound it for that cheap. Not to be honest with you. Yeah, that looks cool. But why Ubuntu?
Well, I mean, I am going to make the wild assumption here that it is not Ubuntu desktop.
Oh no, it's definitely gonna be server, or maybe even Ubuntu Core.
Yeah, I mean, it would obviously it would make no sense to have a DE included with it.
Okay, anybody out there, get one of these, install GNOME on it. It's a challenge. Like, I want you to do it.
A GNOME running on half a gig of RAM and a 1-core, like just above 1 gigahertz processor. That is going to be one hell of a user experience.
I don't think it would actually install on it. I don't. Maybe get it installed, but I bet you it wouldn't launch.
Oh, come on, man. Have some hope. Just for shits and giggles. Like, I'd love to try it and just wait 30 seconds for my D to just even start to begin loading. That'd be so fun.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the next one. I'm going to go with this. I was shocked. I would have thought for sure that this would have been yours, but no. The Steamdeck has hit over 6,000 games marked as verified or playable. There's 2,401 verified, 3,680 playable, and 2,196 is unsupported. Let's talk.
And also, as somebody who this should have been my article, I will go ahead and say there is way more games than that work just fine. I have played many games that are classified as unplayable on the Steam Deck and had great fun with them.
Awesome. Two things in the chat before we move on, before we go back to what I was talking about. First, Josh, if you get GNOME on that board, I want a video of it. I want proof. Also, Gary Higgs, GNOME is a one-syllable word. No, it's not. It's GNOME. It's based on an acronym. I have to stop the podcast just to correct you. Good Lord.
Let's fight over pronunciation. Yes.
I have to. It's in the GNOME developers don't care which way it is, but it started out as GNOME. So I just had to put that. Anyways, moving on. Back to the Steam Deck. Can we look, I don't have a Steam Deck. I'm probably not going to get one because I'm not a gamer. But the fact that you can get a $350 gaming device that has access to 6,000 games, that's bonkers. Like, okay, I don't know what the numbers are for when it comes to the Nintendo Switch. I don't know what their library numbers are like, but I almost guarantee that it's probably like 300, maybe 400 games, if that. I mean, let's just be astronomically generous when it comes to the library for the Nintendo Switch and say they have 1,000 titles. Let's just say, I mean, there's no way they actually do, but let's just be generous and say they do. Steam Deck has 6 times that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just, you cannot argue that the Steam Deck has not been the most successful gaming console ever. Maybe not in terms of sales, but in terms of game compatibility, it has everything else beat. It's nuts. I mean, even a console that's been around for a long time doesn't have 6,000 titles available to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also the scary part for Nintendo, and I feel bad for them as a company, but they're trying to fight to keep this kind of information hidden. But the Steam Deck not only has more games than they do, and also, as long as we're discounting Nintendo first-party games, more an astronomical more major and iconic titles. way more are available on the Steam Deck. And if you want to play Nintendo first party games, that's 100% possible on the Steam Deck with not that much effort. It's not easy, but it's not that much work. So if you wanted to play Breath of the Wild on the Steam Deck, you can. Nintendo does not want you to know that, but you can. You can. So, yeah.
Peter said in the chat that the Switch has 4,000 titles. Wow.
Cool. Those are all available on the Steam Deck. That's the sad part about the argument between the Steam Deck versus something like the Switch. You can play Switch titles on the Steam Deck. Now, granted, you're not supposed to.
I did some I did some Googling, and I don't see that number anywhere. But maybe even if that's true, which I don't think it is, I'd be shocked. The Steam Deck still hasn't beat, and it's been out for a year. Anyways, it's very interesting because it's just like I said, I'm not sure I'm ever gonna buy one. Maybe I'll check out the second generation or something if there's. I have a problem with Valve in that they never do a second generation of anything. You notice this? They've never done a single second generation of any single product, hardware product that they've ever made.
Yeah, I will say I think that's mainly just because it's almost impossible for them to count to 3, so it takes a lot of iterations for them to be able to count to 2.
That was a Half-Life joke. If you ever saw one in your life.
Hopefully people who aren't gamers will get that. Valve doesn't count to 3. It's fundamentally impossible for them to get there, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's what it says. It says there's 4,431 games for the Nintendo Switch. I'm astonished. I would have bet it was closer to 300 or 400. Because even that's a reasonable number of games, but apparently there is 4,000 games. I'm just reading through some of the titles right now. Like, I'm gonna show this on screen. Some of these games I guarantee nobody's ever played.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not even the developers.
Well, let's be honest. There's not very many third-party games that get purchased for Nintendo products.
All right.
Because that's not why you buy a Nintendo product.
12 of the games is the Jackbox Party Pack.
That doesn't really count. Come on, man.
That's 12 of the games right there. Okay. All right. I've had enough of this. So I was wrong. There are a lot more games on the Switch than I thought that there were. Not a gamer. Don't blame me. It's okay. All right, moving on to the next one. That's the Steam Deck. I'm very impressed with the amount of games on it, even if Switch isn't as far behind as I thought they were. Tyler, which one would you like to do next?
I think we'll go on to the Zorin article that I have.
Okay.
Because this is kind of interesting. Zorin, I didn't realize this, but so for one, Zorin looks like they have been taking advantage of the new GNOME, how do we say this? Non-shit aesthetic to their benefit. Because it's much easier to make something good looking when the base that you're pulling from starts looking good too. So the actual screenshots that I've seen from recent Zorin OS versions, not just this one, it started looking way better. Like it looks a lot more cohesive, a lot more properly designed, I guess. It's got a real nice aesthetic. And
wobbly windows. It has wobbly windows.
Well, come on now. Have some fun with your desktop if you can. Why not? Let's just be honest.
Bloat.
Oh my God. Everyone screams that. If I have the option of enabling wobbly windows, I do. Now, by option, I mean a simple, super easy click button option to turn it on. I'll do that. But I don't know. I think there's something to be said to just making your desktop be a little bit fun. Now, Zorin has also done some work to make it to where when you open some Windows executables, they will link to better FOSS alternatives. Like if you try and install, I think it's like the GOG game launcher or like the Epic Games launcher, like EXE, it'll actually link you and take you to what is it? The
Heroic Games Launcher.
Yeah, Heroic Games Launcher. I knew it was somewhere here in the article, but I forgot where it was. And I don't use the Heroic Game Launcher pretty much at all. But yeah, I think that's a really user-friendly way of looking at like designing your operating system. I think it's a really good thing to do.
When I first started reading this paragraph where they were talking about that, I thought that they were going to say that it says, we've also expanded our built-in database that detects Windows installer files. When I read that part of the sentence, I was like, oh, they're going to use like bottles or something or wine to like automatically install those files right on your computer and let you run all the Windows apps you want. That's where I thought that they were going. But no, I think I like this better, where they're pointing you towards open source alternatives. Yeah, that's cool. I
mean, I've had a lot of arguments against Zorin in the past, and I think it's kind of decisions like this that'll definitely change not just my opinion, but the people who have opinions similar to mine. Like these kind of decisions they're good. They're very good. They're not only good for the users, but they're good in public reception. Like you're building a lot of trust with the community. I like it.
Yeah. So here's my plea for Zorin. Please use the dark mode by default. Like, the white mode it hurts my eye.
I won't disagree with you there, but I also won't back you up too much on that one, only because like I have the same argument against Fedora, but I don't really bring it up like that much. I mean, they should just have the dark mode should just be the default. It should be.
Should be I guess not just Zorin. It should be everyone should use the dark mode as default. Why this isn't...
And I know that some people in chat need to hear this. We are not saying that you shouldn't have the option to enable light mode, okay? Or that you're a dirty person if you do, even though I completely disagree with you fundamentally as a person if you choose to use light mode. Like, why do you hate yourself? But
the chat doesn't care.
We are free to disagree, okay?
The chat doesn't care about what we're talking about right now. They're still talking about GNOME.
But yeah,
it's the best thing ever.
I mean, that's my thing. Like, you should be able to have your light mode, but you should also be able to understand that for the majority of people, dark mode is nicer and easier on the eyes. Just make it the default.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that we should definitely sign that petition or whatever. It should just be normal. It should be the default. I don't think it would hurt anything. It wouldn't make a whole bunch of people mad. It'd make a whole bunch of people happy. Anyways.
No.
So anyways, Emacs. As Josh says in the chat. All right, moving on to the next one. We're going to talk about Linus Torvalds saying it's time to get rid of IA486 CPU support. And the reason why I included this particular article is not necessarily because I disagree with it or because I think anybody would disagree with it, but that it's not necessarily just i486, but we've done it with 32-bit and things like that. Like 32-bit still exists, but they're slowly phasing it out, right? And the one thing that's great about Linux when it comes to the kernel development is that they're not afraid to get rid of stuff. Also not afraid to keep stuff because floppy drives are still there. But they do, from time to time, get rid of stuff. And it's not something that Windows does all that often, which I think is nice. So, yeah, they're talking about getting rid... After dropping support for the ancient i386 line of CPUs over a decade back, the Linux kernel is gearing up to possibly drop by 486. Those were launched, by the way, in 1989. So if you're still using one with a modern Linux kernel, I mean... Mm-hmm. I mean, I can understand still using, like, a lot of people like to do retrograms and stuff on that kind of stuff, which is fine. But you're not running Arch on it or Gentoo.
No.
At least you're probably not. Well, Josh probably is, but
well, I mean, and also the idea that you can't just use an older kernel. It's like some people also like act like that's not an option. It's like, no, if you're running a computer from 1989, or let's just be generous and say it's like from 91, brother, I don't think you're going to need any of the new features of the new Linux kernel. I think you'll be fine. It's okay.
Okay, so if you're running a computer that was brought out in 1989, there's a good chance that it's not connected to the internet.
Oh, true that.
So,
True that.
I mean, unless unless you've bought yourself like an actual like modem, you know, the kind that had a handshake sound, you know, you know, and connecting it that way. But you know, why are you doing that? First of all, I mean, for what purpose? So I mean, if you're using one of those kind of things, you're doing it for a specific purpose. You're doing it for retro games, or because you're like a super nerd, which, you know, I salute you.
Or you're just interested in the architecture.
Yeah,
like, I mean, there could be 1,000 different reasons.
You're doing it for fun. You're probably not doing it to browse Google. So you don't need...
God, I hope you're not.
You're like, oh, let's fire up the Commodore 64 and watch some YouTube. You know? So, like I said, I don't think that you need a current kernel to do that. So cutting this out from the more modern kernels makes a lot of sense. At least I think so. But I've been told I'm a modern snob. I only like new things.
I mean, that to me, I think that kind of terminology or demonization of somebody is only relevant if you're talking about like the type of extreme removal like Microsoft tried to pull, like where you're like, yeah, I mean, if it's older than 4 years, why are we still supporting it? I mean, that is extremist.
Yeah.
That's a little bit much. But I mean, when we're arguing about something that was over 20, like it's well over 20-year-old tech, come on, man. Like shaving it off there, it's like we can have a reasonable discussion about whether or not we should get rid of it, but trying to demonize somebody for getting rid of something that old or support for something that old, I don't think that's fair. Like it's just not fair.
Those computers are almost 10 years older than you are. So
yeah.
So
scarily close.
They're only 4 years newer than I am. So you know. So yeah, it's I don't think there's a big problem with this, and I don't think anybody's making it a huge deal. Although the article that I linked to, is this good or bad news? Well, I'm afraid that it is bad news, but it does not have a major impact. Then it's not bad news, okay? But if they can take, you know, a few thousand lines of code out of the Linux kernel, they should, because you know it's like 30 million lines of code right now, or some astronomical number. They need to prune back just a tad. So
well, and also doing stuff like this, removing that super old retro support for stuff, it does. I mean, you can make an argument against this, but technically speaking, it should, no matter what, decrease the attack
vector.
Yeah, the amount of attack vectors
surface
in the Linux kernel. So.
Peter says, so what Matt is trying to say is that he should be removed from the Linux kernel as obsolete. You're saying I'm too old to use Linux?
Back to Windows for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back to Windows 3 or something, I guess. All right, moving on to the next one. I think yours is the Fedora one. Is your last one?
Yep.
All right, I'm shocked that this one isn't mine. Actually, we should have switched. We should have switched the Steam in this one. All right, moving on to the next one.
When I saw when I saw this, I had to go back and check to make sure that I didn't miss it in one of your links. But yeah, Fedora 37 is getting delayed. Now it's not because they're having troubles getting it all looking good. OpenSSL has apparently a critical security bug that'll be fixed November 1st. So they're holding back the actual major release until that gets addressed and can be put in the actual release and then shipped off, which I don't think anyone has a problem with. I also do want to go ahead and give kudos to them for being very transparent about why they're holding it off.
Yeah, they've talked about this in like 4 or 5 blog posts. They're kind of freaking out about it because they've had a streak of like 15 years or something like that of releasing on time, or at least hitting the first or second target date. And this is going to be the first time they've missed the target dates.
No.
So that's a big deal for them. Nobody else cares. Everybody else cares that you're waiting for a significant vulnerability to be fixed, which is what you should do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was reading about this earlier in one of the blog posts from one of the main developers of Fedora, and they were talking about how so the OpenSSL organization got notified of this fix or of the security flaw probably a few months ago. They didn't give a time frame, and it's been under embargo. So the reason why they can't just release the Fedora 37, which already has the fix. Like, it's already there. They know about it. Well, it doesn't have the fix. They have the fix ready to go. I don't know. It was hard to understand. But the thing is that they can't release it with the fix until it's been made public, because they don't want the security flaw to be out there to be, used by bad people until it's been released wide. So that's, it's and OpenSSL is a bit of a big deal, Well,
I mean, also it's a terrible idea to put out a release when you know full well there's a you don't know the scope of the security bug, but when you're being told it's a critical security bug and you're like, ship it, boys. It's not gonna look good.
Josh, according to the developer, this is the first time they've missed since April of last year. So maybe they missed October's last year. I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't really matter to me. Whatever. The point is that they're missing it, and they're doing it for a good reason. Personally, I probably won't update to 37 until it's been around for a little while. Let them iron out some of the bugs. They'll know that pop up. So I'm not out. I wasn't gonna upgrade right away, anyways. Of course, I say that, and then I'd probably do it the day it came out anyway. Because something new and shiny. But yeah. Anybody else just completely shocked that I'm still on Fedora? I mean, it's been months.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I am surprised because, like, I would have figured you would have gone back to Arch, but like I was really betting on you going back to Arco, like decently soon. Like, I mean, I assumed you probably stayed for like a month. That wouldn't be a problem, but no Arco has come back into your life.
It hasn't, and I used Manjaro in a VM the other day, and I had forgotten how to update it. I forgot the U at the end of the update command. That I don't know why. I mean, I used Arch for a long time. I should have remembered that, but I forgot it. Also, I forgot that Manjaro doesn't have Paru or Ye installed by default, so I had to remember how to install those, which I used to have memorized. So yeah, turns out not an Arch fanboy anymore. Go Fedora. All right, moving on to the last article of the day. This one here, we're gonna go back a little bit to the beginning of the show where we were talking about single board computers. So this article here is about a computer called the Oxnobul. So it's actually called it has a really weird name. It's called the OX64. It's a sub $10 Linux capable single board computer. This is from the Pine64 guys, so from a reputable company. I lost my thing, so you can. I lost my place in it. Anyways, it's a sub $10 board. It's not quite as powerful as what you talked about earlier, but it's it's like another one of these $10, around $10-$20 boards that you can get to do random stuff for using open source and stuff. And it now boots Linux, so you can also put Linux on. It doesn't say a specific distro though. It just says it now boots Linux. And it runs it too. It runs it well. Honestly, this is the worst news article ever. If you scroll down, it says that the OX64 is a RISC-V Linux-capable SBC for $8. It features a BL808 from Buffalo Labs RISC-V SoC with 64 megabytes of RAM, 3-core 64-bit RISC-V core, 32-bit RISC-V core, and a low-powered RISC-V core. I'm assuming... Yeah, all right. 2 variants of the OX64 and day one for RTOS and Linux development, $6 and $8 respectively. It doesn't tell what the difference between those two are, though.
I would be very interested to know where that $2 is going.
Right? Like, wonder why there needs to be 2 versions. Just give the expensive one. Expensive. Yeah. It's $8. Expected availability in November. So if you're going to be doing, if you're a developer of any kind, this kind of stuff is very interesting for you. I'd still want one, but I'm not sure exactly, again, what I would do with it.
No.
Yeah, it's just, I'm not sure. Like, I want one. They're all so cool. But I'm not sure what I'd do with it. But yeah, the interesting thing about all this is that there's so many of them, right? There's a lot of companies out there doing this kind of thing, and that's awesome because as RISC-V gets more and more developed behind it, you're gonna get more and more support for things like full-blown Linux. Now, it's not gonna be on this board. This thing has a microcontroller that's meant to do probably like one task, right?
Yeah.
But you're gonna get things like the Raspberry Pi and stuff like that, stuff that competes with that, with RISC-V and stuff that eventually is going to be able to run full-blown Linux, and it's going to be awesome. I bet you, though, that they don't cost $10. I mean, eventually, when they get more capable, they're going to get more expensive. But I've been thinking that of the Raspberry Pi for years, that it was going to eventually get more expensive, but it's, when you could find one at MSRP, it's not as expensive as I kept thinking it probably should be. Because there's a lot of stuff you can do with it, right? So,
yeah.
Anyways, that is the news, and I like our new format. I think 3 links is about our limit, though. If we each did 4, it would just be too much. So, moving on to the last part of the show, and that is called the Thingy of the Week. Now, we call it the Thingy of the Week. We could have called it something different, Apps of the Week, Picks of the Week, but those names were trademarked, used by other podcasts, and we didn't want to be like other podcasts. So, in the true nature of innovation, we decided to do the exact same thing a lot of other podcasts do, but to call it a different thing. And we decided Thingy of the Week. Now, this is not a dirty phrase. Get your mind out of the gutter. It's just a word. Anyways, Tyler, your Thingy of the Week.
It is Matt's favorite desktop environment, GNOME. Or as some would like to say, GNOME. Look, I have really been enjoying the new GNOME. Like, it's real nice. It is real nice. Mainly, the thing that I have noticed is regardless of on Wayland or on Xorg, the animations and the snappiness of GNOME is really good. Like, really exceptionally good. There used to be a noticeable difference in like the perceived snappiness of the system between Xorg and Wayland was noticeably snappier. I don't feel that anymore. And so I'm able to use Xorg without like feeling like I've had to like take some kind of performance hit to have like everything work as I'm used to them working. So like overall, just in general, I have really been enjoying the vanilla GNOME experience, as I know you have too, Matt.
That's not true. All right, so let me give you a little tip though. Download from FlatHub a application, well, 2 applications. One, the extensions manager, which will allow you to get extensions really easy, right? But also gradients. Have you heard of gradients before?
I feel like I have, but I haven't used it and I'm not familiar with it.
Gradients is the new way to theme GNOME. It allows you to tweak.
Yes, I have heard of it.
Basically everything. And you know, like a year ago or whatever, when we were all going like torches and pitchforks at GNOME's throats about how they were killing themes, turns out they knew what they were doing. Who the fuck knew?
Yeah, they actually had a plan.
Like they had a plan for theming all along. They just didn't tell us. They let us all just grind our teeth into oblivion. Like, how dare you get rid of my theming? And it turns out they had a plan, because Gradients it works with libadwaita. It's not a hack, and it lets you customize way more than a theme ever could. Now, obviously, there are some themes that like you used to be able to download that did a whole bunch more stuff, but in terms of like actually choosing colors for your applications, it's really cool. Now, if Gradients ever gets the chance to be able to edit or configure the shell itself, so like the bar at the top and the background and all that stuff, that'd be cool, but it's not there yet. But other than that, Gradients is awesome. Peter says you should not theme GNOME. You have to use it as is out of the box. That's just sounds like painful. It's like,
I mean, it sounds like he's repeating like your rhetoric. He's, like you. I mean, you're a hardcore, diehard fan of vanilla GNOME.
That's like saying you have to use rat poison, but you can't configure it.
That's so good.
Like, rat poison is unusable if you don't configure it. Okay, I'm just saying you can't use it without configuring it. So yes, okay. Anyways, Gradients, check that out because that's really cool. So, all right. So mine is one that I've talked about before on the podcast, but for sure I've made a video about it when I was doing this top 5 apps lists. But it's Gallery DL. Now, this is one of those ones that could probably get me banned from YouTube, but it doesn't download YouTube stuff, so don't ban me, YouTube. Basically, what Gallery DL is it's like YouTube. I'm not going to say the words. I don't want to get demonetized, but it's like that, but for everything else. So it has like 600 supported sites, and yes, most of them are porn and hentai. That's true, but there's regular stuff in there too. So you can download things from like Wallhaven, Wallpaper Cave, like Flickr, regular picture sites, Reddit, like a whole bunch of regular sites, and you can download, like, if you go into like Wallhaven, which is like a place that has like 10,000 or more wallpapers, something like that, and search for a specific type of wallpaper, and then you take that URL, put it into Gallery DL, and it will download everything in that search. So every single wallpaper in that search at its highest quality, and if you wanted a specific quality, you can do that as well. And if you're a wallpaper collector, or you want to download all of the pictures of Farrah Fawcett or something, if you're really old, I don't know, you could do that, right? And that's what makes it so cool, is you can download pretty much anything from any sites. And if you're into like anime and stuff like that, not even just like the porn anime, but like the regular anime that normal people like, you can. There's a lot of sites that are supported for that stuff too. So it's really cool.
Just for further reference, that's called hentai.
I know what it was called. I was trying to be PC. Damn it! Even though I did say hentai earlier. So, anyways, yeah. I will say this, that the majority of the sites that it supports are adult oriented, but
welcome to the internet.
You don't have to use any of that stuff. You can just use some of the other stuff, right? That's for people who don't look at porn, I guess. I don't know. It's just regular stuff, non-adult oriented stuff. I don't know. I need to stop digging the hole, okay? I just need to put the shovel down and stop digging the hole. All right. Anyways, that is my
Meanwhile,
thingy.
I'm over here cheering you on. Like, dig.
Ain't gonna ruin it. That's my thingy of the week.
That was a good sell for your thingy of the week.
Anyways, so that's the podcast. We record this live every Friday around 3:00 p.m. Eastern time. We normally aren't a half an hour late. We normally don't have so many audio problems at the beginning, so I'm really hoping the audio for this comes out okay, because I'm recording it all in OBS, and I hope that OBS doesn't corrupt my file like it did earlier. So, because if so, then I'd have to download it from YouTube and then edit it, which would be like taking the quality and just like crapping all over it. But anyways, hopefully it works. Yeah. It's gonna work out fine. I have complete faith in OBS not to screw me. I do. I really do. All right. Anyways, before we go, I should take a moment to think. I went the whole podcast without tripping over everything. Before we go, I should take a moment to think. I can't talk now. I had a stroke. All right, Matt, calm down. You can do it. Thank my current patrons. Thanks to everyone who does support me on patreon.com/linuxcast. I really do appreciate it. The YouTube members as well. I always forget to thank you guys because it's hard. But anyways, thanks to everybody who does support me on this stuff. Trainwreck for every Friday. Thank you, Jeff, for that. I appreciate that. Anyways, thanks to everyone who does support me on Patreon. You guys are all absolutely amazing. Without you, the channel just would not be anywhere near where it is right now. So thanks very much. Does Tyler need a mic stand? No, he doesn't need a mic stand. He has one for his other one. It's just busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do actually have a microphone stand right next to me, but the adapter I forgot where it is. I searched everywhere, I couldn't find it.
Imagine Matt doing stand up. Matt'd be horrible doing stand up because I'm just not. I'm not a good. As evidence,
I think you'd be surprised. I'm pretty sure you could do stand up pretty damn well.
I'm not an eloquent enough speaker as evidenced over the last 5 minutes. All right. Anyways, thanks everybody for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.
Boy.